This is Law for Community Workers, a podcast for community and health workers produced by Legal Aid New South Wales. We would like to acknowledge that this episode was recorded on Aboriginal land and pay our respects to elders past and present. Always was, always will be. Hello everyone and welcome to Spotlight On, a shortcut series on specialist community legal services available in New South Wales. Each episode will be shining the spotlight on a different free specialist service operating in New South Wales and some nationally that you might not have known about. Any resources and services referred to in this series will be available via the show notes. You can also email us with any questions to cle@legalaid.nsw.gov.au. My name is Pauline and I'm with the Community Legal Education Branch at Legal Aid New South Wales. Today we are putting the spotlight on International Social Services Australia.
Hi, my name is Jessica Rafael. I am a senior lawyer with International Social Service Australia, and the part that I like most about my role is reuniting parents with their children.
So what is International Social Services Australia and what do you do?
International Social Services Australia is a few things. So we're a nationwide community legal centre that specialises in international parental child abduction and the 1980 Hague Convention. We also have a social work service as part of our service that provides support to people experiencing international parental child abduction, or IPCA, as I will call it. We have other social work services as well. We also have an international family mediation service. And we are also part of a global network of international social service organisations that specialise in family and child protection support and that have 120 members around the world.
And a typical case, what would that look like?
And a typical case for our service. So a typical case for the legal service would be a parent calls us because their child or their children have been removed from Australia or retained outside of Australia, kept maybe after a family holiday and not brought back as initially agreed without their consent, and they want to get them back.
And what does that process involve?
So I'll just take you through what that process looks like. So the first step in assisting that parent is to determine whether the country to which the child has been taken is also a party to the 1980 Hague Convention. The 1980 Hague Convention is a convention designed to establish a legal pathway for securing the return of children when they have been wrongfully removed from their country of habitual residence. There are about 100 parties to the convention, and the convention is in force between Australia and around 80 of those countries. So if the country that the child has been taken to is also a party to the 1980 Hague Convention, then that will mean that it's possible to file a return application. And this will involve preparing the application and preparing a supporting affidavit, which goes into detail about how that client's circumstances meet the various criteria of the Hague Convention. That's most commonly then filed with the Australian Central Authority, which is kind of an agency that sits within the Commonwealth Attorney General's Department that handles the Hague Convention. And the Australian Central Authority, or ACA, then assesses that application. If it is accepted, then it passes it along to the Central Authority in the other country. And then that central authority makes its own assessment, and if it's accepted at that stage, then that central authority will typically initiate court proceedings in the other country, and then the court will hear that application and decide on whether to return the child or not.
So who would be your target clients and what makes a person eligible for your service?
Our clients are typically left behind parents, the parents that are left behind when the child or children are taken without their consent to another country. We also give advice, to a broader range of clients than that, but they're our kind of core client base. And what makes a client eligible for our service? So we don't means or merits test our clients. Obviously, like if a case has no merit at all, then we typically won't assist. But We're not sort of imposing a formal merits test, and we also are not means tested. So if a client can make an application under the Hague Convention, we will typically assist them to do that.
What is the best way for a service to make a referral to the ISSA, or just for someone to make contact for themselves?
So the best way is to call us. We have a phone number, 1300 657 843. We don't have specific phone advice times, but usually you'll get through to somebody, and if not, you can leave a voicemail that we will return. We're pretty prompt with our voicemails. We have an email address as well, which is iss@iss.org.au. But the best way to get in touch with us is usually just to call us. And that's for a referral or also for a client to make direct contact.
Is the ISSA available to present at conferences?
Yes, we are. We are a small team, but we are an enthusiastic team, and we're very happy to discuss presenting at conferences or other CLE that you might be interested in. Please don't hesitate to reach out.
Where can people find the ISSA on social media?
So we do have Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're new to Instagram, so give us a follow. I think we're at ISS_Australia on Instagram. On Facebook and LinkedIn, just sort of type International Social Service Australia, and you'll find us there as well.
And before we go, what is the one thing that you want anyone who's experiencing international parental child abduction to know?
So there are two key things that I really want people to know. The first is that if your children or child is removed wrongfully, there are legal steps that you can take to secure the return of your children. That's not to say that it's always easy or simple or guarantees to succeed, but usually delaying taking action will harm your case if you do decide to make one. So the best approach is always act early, get advice early, and decide what you want to do. The second thing is that prevention is better than cure. If you think that your child might be removed from Australia, get a family lawyer to help you to get a family law watch list order. If you have a family lawyer and they say you don't need one, you don't need a watch list order, please call us. We are in the unfortunate position of speaking to many clients who, for one reason or another, and sadly it does often involve some quite bad legal advice, did not get a watch list order even though they should have, and even though they had a suspicion that their child might be removed. So although we can't help you to get a watch list order because we don't act in domestic family law matters, we are very happy to talk to you or to your lawyer to explain why it's a very good idea to get one. A successful watch list order is far more effective than relying on a Hague Convention application. And of course, there are many countries that are not a party to the Hague Convention, and getting a child back from those countries is far, far more difficult. So if it is at all possible to prevent the child from leaving, that's the better course of action.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Jessica, and for letting us shine the spotlight on the ISSA.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
That was our guest, Jessica Rafael from the ISSA, International Social Services Australia. As promised, we will have the links to everything in our show notes, including the link to watch this episode on our YouTube channel, as well as the ISSA website and social media profiles. As always, you can email us to cle@legalaid.nsw.gov.au. Don't forget to keep up to date with all of the Law for Community Workers webinars and the Law for Community Workers podcast. Please subscribe to our e-alert found on our website. Also, there's a link in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and goodbye, everyone.